let's talk about some of the other dark horses in this World Cup. Going to pot 2 now, which has, shall we say, some hopes for African countries in pot 2. And I'm very lucky to be joined, of course, by 2 specialists in African football. Shall we? Yeah, let's start with Morocco, because obviously they made history back in 2022, becoming the first team from the continent to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup.
Yeah, and Morocco has a very strong squad on every line. I think this is the major African chance into that World Cup, because from the goalkeeper Yassine Bounou to strikers, you see players evolving into the best teams in the world. Brahim Diaz, for example, the Real Madrid forward, is an example of that. And they built that team squad since Regragui came into office very wisely, step by step. We saw obviously what happened in Qatar for the World Cup, with the energy of supporters there, going up to the semi-final, beating Portugal, beating Spain, which was a massive moment for African football history. But between now and the World Cup, there will be the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. And if they win the AFCON, it can put them into such a great spirit up to the World Cup. If not, if they lose, even if they go into the final, by the way.
Because they're serial underachievers when it comes to AFCON as well.
Yes, exactly. They only won once this AFCON back, I think that was almost 50 years ago now. So yeah, if they don't win that World Cup, that AFCON, what would happen to Walid Regragui? That's a question mark.
A question mark indeed. Morocco, definitely the biggest African hope, we'd say, but Senegal also a big African team, another hope for a team to go far into the competition. Their best placing is the quarterfinals back in 2002. They reached the last 16 in Qatar. Could we see them at least going as far as their best ever result so far?
I think so. I think this is the season for Senegal to do what Morocco did in Qatar. Why do I say that? They have a young side with a lot of experience, and also players who are applying their trades in different continents, and they have a lot of depth. Iliman Ndiaye is one of the players to definitely look out for. Also considering the fact that this Senegalese side defeated the Three Lions not too long ago.
Yes.
It was a friendly. I watched that game again.
Still, a good indicator.
Yeah. You know, Jude Bellingham, almost invisible, unseen. I was really surprised to see star players not necessarily performing to the level that we were expecting them to perform. But then on the other hand, which is why we're talking about Senegal right now, they're a good team to look out for. They also have Gay, who is one of the more experienced sides. Yeah. So in terms of depth, when we're looking at the sides, Senegal has a lot of it. And so the AFCON is definitely going to be the best precursor, one that we can follow to then see that, okay, this is the kind of selection we can expect from this side, and this is how the players then perform. And I think it's also a good thing for them to have the AFCON before the World Cup, so that you can find game management. You know, you need to also build up that big match temperament, especially for the players who are not playing in another continent, who are playing at home. And so I think for sure, Senegal is definitely one to look out for. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, there is a change in terms of mentality into that squad since their match versus Democratic Republic of Congo in the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, because before that game versus DRC, we all think that Senegal couldn't overcome bad situations. And they showed in a very hostile environment at the Stade des Martyrs of Kinshasa that they were able to come from a 2-0 disadvantage to win this game eventually 3-2. And that was the first time I could say, all right, now they can really stand up and say, okay, now even if we are led into the game, we could fight. That fighting spirit was lacking at the World Cup and even at some AFCONs. So I was pleased to see that, because now we can say with more assurance that Senegal could overcome bad situations.
Yep, the Lions of Teranga will definitely be one to watch out for when it comes to Africa. Looking at some other teams in pot 2, I think the big standout one has to be Croatia, a small country that has consistently been punching above its weight. They have a very impressive record, 2018 finalists. They got the third place in 2022. What do we feel like they could do this time round?
Each time we say that, Croatia, I'm not quite sure. Each time they go far into the competition.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And even the game versus Brazil at the last World Cup, because Brazil, they have a better side, even if there was Luka Modric, a legend of the game, but still, it wasn't obvious to see Croatia going so far into that 2022 World Cup. The main issue will be how they will play without Modric and how they will they can be a surprise depending on the composition of their group.